Hi guys, so my name is Tony Money, the founder of Purpose Over Popularity, and what you're about to see is some real live, unedited, unedited camera information that we will be receiving from our panelists about the challenges that millennials face. So stay tuned as we dive into some deep and enlightening conversation. Helping millennials and helping them not just to realize what their challenges are, but to bring about solutions and then providing a safe place for us as millennials to talk. Because I think a lot of time we've mastered the idea of making it seem as if everything's okay, and it isn't. And so this is just a forum for us to come together and speak about the real life issues that we're now facing. And I have 5 lovely, lovely millennials that I want to speak wisdom to you guys today. And I will allow them to introduce themselves, starting with the lovely gentleman on my left.
Hey everybody, how are you doing, guys? My name is Shaquille Hanna, also known as Young Rev. First of all, I just turned 25 on Tuesday. All right? So, thank you very much for having me. I'll put my account number in the link, thing below. All right, but anyway, I'm a family man. I'm married, 2 kids. I am the founder of God's Squad Universal. Some of you may know it, godsquaduniversal.com. We are a kingdom lifestyle brand where we focus on apparel, music. We just started a blog, different events, content of that nature. I am also an entrepreneur. I have a business called Custom Auto Detailers, where we do auto detailing and we also sell the auto detailing products in store. So if you go in the store and you see Custom Auto Detailers on any one of those models, please do pick it up. Also, love fashion, men's fashion, weekend pickups. You can check that page out as well. And then also basketball. I coach basketball, God's Squad basketball, and Lightning basketball at Windsor Prep Academy School. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Hi, my name is Gilberta Thompson, and I feel a little old right now because I'm 28. And yeah, nobody's got 25 now. I work at a local family business. I've been around business from I was the age of 10 years old, so it's pretty much a passion of mine. I recently wrote a book, so I'm now an author, which still sounds weird, by the way. I absolutely love millennials as well. I love to see young people just striving and just doing exactly what God has called them to do. And oh, fun fact, in my mind, I am a superstar singer. But my husband and family tell me differently. Yeah, so that's a fun fact about me.
Good evening, everyone. Or good afternoon. My name is Lincoln Neal, entrepreneur, philanthropist, founder and CEO of Jet Link Adventures, the water jetpack company. Ivan Link Adventure Tours. It is a tour operating company. Sun Glow Bahamas, and now the LDO group of companies, which is a conglomerate of different companies managing with different partners and ventures. I am very passionate about youth development, entrepreneurship, and this topic, purpose over popularity.
Hi everybody, my name is LaShante Stouts, but I prefer Shante, so most times I just introduce myself as Shante. I am 25 years old. I am a medical student at the great University of the West Indies. A few of my classmates are in the audience. Yeah. So, yeah. I am also the founder of a non-profit organization called Girls Empowerment, and it's geared towards helping young women improve, grow, become leaders. I am passionate about community service. I love the outdoors, and I guess fun fact, my favorite hangout spot is Starbucks. You can always find me like, yeah, the neighborhood Starbucks. I always snap about Starbucks. So, yeah.
Hey everybody, my name is Enrico Bain. I am 26 years old. I am presently the pastoral intern at St. Andrew's Kirk. I have a bachelor's degree in psychology. I'm presently working on my master's degree in divinity, which is a branch in theology. I serve with a few youth organizations, Bahamas Youth Network. I used to serve with Forward Down and some other great youth organizations. Happy to be here as well, and very excited about discussing this topic today.
Good stuff. So I hope you guys feel a little more welcome and know who will be speaking to you. And so we're going to start with the first topic, And basically what the first topic is based on the name, purpose over popularity. And so the question that I'm posing to the panelists is, what is purpose? So based on what you guys know about purpose, what you've experienced, what would you say is your definition of purpose? And how, at the same time, I guess you can say, how does one achieve fulfilling purpose? What does that look like?
I'll put it like this. I think purpose is really simple. Purpose is simply, what we were created to do. The purpose of this mic is to amplify my voice. The purpose of this phone is to make calls and do WhatsApp and all of the technology that the phone can do. Purpose of the chair is to sit in. So when you take something and you start to use it outside of the context that it's been made for, you don't get the true value of what that thing was made for. So I believe all of us were created by God for a specific reason. And our purpose, or discovering your purpose, is simply just finding out, hey, why did God create me? And how do you live on purpose? I'll just say be intentional. The moment you find out that God has made you to be a singer, an actress, a business person, an entrepreneur, a philanthropist, whatever He's made you to do, you have to be intentional about it. Because a lot of persons, and especially we're talking about millennials, a lot of millennials are walking around knowing what it is that they want to do, knowing what it is that God has called them to do. They have a burning desire deep down in their heart, but it's like fear that's stopping them, it's the approval of others that's stopping them, it's parents that's stopping them. So I would say as soon as you find that out, just be intentional and make sure to live your life to finish that race, that whatever you were made to do, you did it.
I think he pretty much nailed it on the head, the nail on the head, whatever you say. But I just wanted to just kind of reiterate how important it is in consulting God and discovering this purpose. If you were created to do something, the only way you would know is if you consult the Creator. And perhaps you may be a person that hasn't yet discovered your purpose because maybe you haven't been seeking the Creator as you should to find out, because you can be saved and then still not know your purpose. For me, I literally had to beg God, like, I nagged him, like, you ready to tell me yet? Okay, Jesus, today is Tuesday, you ain't tell me yet? Okay, it's Thursday, you're gonna tell me yet? I did that for a period of months before the Lord really showed me that He wanted to take me in the realm of writing, which I did. So you gotta just consult the Creator. Like, if you really want to zero down, it's gonna be tied to your gifts and your talents, of course, because if you can sing, then more than likely the Lord has called you to sing. If you can act, if you can dance, if you can write, but you won't get, like, kind of like when you're throwing darts, you won't get the bullseye until you consult the Creator, the one who created you. He's going to tell you how to walk, where to go, do this, do that, turn that, go right, and stuff like that. So definitely consulting the Creator. If you have to deny Him, so be it.
Yes, and I agree with both of them, but I just wanted to add, because I feel like a lot of times as young people, or as older people, we kind of fall into the trap or believe the lie that our purpose is just one thing. I don't feel like we were just created to do one particular thing. Many of us, we have many gifts, many talents, and we may feel that we may be called to do more than one thing, but she touched on the fact of, with us being believers, we should consult the Creator, and with that, I would just say that if you feel called to do more than one thing, just make sure that in all of it, you're glorifying God.
Purpose. We have a lot of persons that, I know you mentioned you're 25, you're 28, and we have a variety of ages. So I'm just 22, right? And for the longest I've been, like you said, you nagged God. And sorry, I turned 23. I forgot, yeah. Okay, yeah, so I turned 23. And at 22, I was at the point I was like, wait, I'm too old to not know what I really want to do. So currently I'm a law student, and that's cool, that's fine. But I feel like that's just a portion of what it was that God has called me to do. And like you said, you nagged God, you're like, what is going on? Like, I'm too old for this. In actuality, I was 22. So you have a lot of persons that reach this point. I know the brother would have written a book on it. If you don't know the name, it is I'm 25, now what? And so what advice would either of you give to anyone that's in that position where, as it's defined, I guess, in your book, the quarter life crisis, where you're really freaking out because you're like, I don't know what it is I want to do. How do I find out my purpose?
I think oftentimes we get caught up in this age thing where we're looking around and we're comparing, and our 24-year-old friend is a billionaire, and this friend is a med student at 20, and at the end of the day, each of us in purpose has a time and a season for when God will bring us out. And we have to appreciate when that time is, but we also have to be intentional and pursue the things and work towards that goal and those things that we're working for. I would say that you're never too old to accomplish a new dream, a new goal. Because, when you look around the world, some of the greatest inventors and stuff, they weren't young. Some of them realized some of their passions at even a later age, and time caught up. What they did in that period, quantified everything that they were waiting for 10, 15, 20 years. And so that goes with trust in God and also trusting His timing and trusting the process of your life. Not putting an age restriction on it and trying to figure it all out. Oftentimes that's our preparation time, which is equally as important because we may have a goal and a dream and a destiny. David knew that he was supposed to be king years ago, but there was a process in between there, between knowing where we want to go, what we want to do, and the process. You said that you're in law, the different cases that you have to study now and prepare for, so that when you get to that place, when you graduate and you're in the firm, you can troubleshoot, you understand what you're doing, and you can become one of the greatest at it.
Yeah. In terms of you being too old, you feel like, okay, I am 30, 40, 25, and I don't know what I want to do. My advice would be to just stop and just take a breath, because sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves to have everything figured out, and sometimes life can be messy. Like, things just don't work that way. I don't believe that life is always structured. I believe that God, He wanted life to be fluid and like to just, not to be something so structured all the time. So just slow down, take a breath, and live life, because the time you waste worrying about, okay, what is my purpose? What am I here to do? You miss out on so much. So just take things one day at a time, slow down, breathe, and in time, like he said, it will happen. God will reveal your purpose to you.
Firstly, I think when I think about the quarter life crisis, I think that's the funniest statement I ever heard. I think a lot of people would laugh at us when they heard us talking about a quarter life crisis. And I said it to say, I think it's funny because it is. We're so young, and no one says that you have to have life figured out at a particular age. There is no book on life, and so unless there was and you haven't read it yet, then I would say go read it. But there is no book on life to say you have to have it figured out. You have to know what you have to do. But there are some formulas that have worked for some people, and I think they all hit the nail on the head. Being intentional and seeking your creator, and I think that's definitely where it starts. I can remember me. I never called it a quarter life crisis, but I had a scenario where I was like, when I turned 24, I was riding in the car with a friend, and I was freaking out, like, what I doing? I still in college and I graduated yet, and just like Lincoln said, right? I guess that's a quarter life crisis. And just like Lincoln said, I have friends who's doing this and friends who's doing that, and I have younger friends doing more than me and older friends doing more than me, and my friend had to give me these wise words, and she was just reminding me that she's like, you are enough for where you are in your life right now. And God is giving you whatever you need for what He's called you to do right now. So just focus on what's in front of you right now. And that's my advice for any young millennial that may be thinking about, like, what am I doing and what's up? Like, focus on, ask yourself the question, God, what's in front of me right now? What have you called me to do? Where do I work? What do I enjoy doing? And just do that to the best of your abilities. And I agree with Shante. Like, it doesn't have to be one particular thing. Like, not every person who has a great voice is called to be a singer. Not every person who can dance is called to be a dancer. However, that God does sometimes, link what you really enjoy doing and what you can do very well with your purpose. In fact, most times He does that. But I would say just trust God and like you said, be intentional about it.
I think when we think of purpose, we always think that it has to be this big, grand thing. You may be operating your purpose right now. Your purpose may be to be a good mother to your child right now, this season. And we just think that purpose is supposed to be this big thing. So our life doesn't look like this big thing. Okay, we're not operating in purpose. And when I wrote the book and I did research afterwards, while I was writing, I had no idea it would be as big as it was. And it's that 80% of millennials go through a quarter life crisis. 88% is really, 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 really high. And I said, I think it's millennials. A lot of us, we have a contentment issue. And I had the same thing. we're not content. We're never content with the season that we're in. So right now you think, oh Lord, I can't wait to get married. Then when you get married, oh, I can't wait to have children. Don't have children, I can't wait for these children to get big. See, it's not a matter of, okay, you gotta learn to be content in whatever season you are in your life, because the grass is always going to look greener on the other side if you allow that to be your perception. So we have to work on being content, and I'm so glad that God doesn't just zoom us into success. Because could you imagine if Michael Jordan scouts went to scout him on year one when he was just training? He probably wouldn't have made it to the NBA. I'm glad that the Lord doesn't have a big audience during my boo-boos and my hiccups and while I'm still learning. So this learning process is actually benefits you because it allows you to get better. So that when the Lord blesses you in whatever capacity you feel that He will, you'll be equipped and prepared.
One more thing I'd like to add. I think a lot of times during this quarter life crisis that millennials have, we look at ourselves and we look at the persons around us, like what Lincoln alluded to, and we like to compare, right? And we look at it and we say, all right, I am 22, 23, 24, however old, and this is what I'm doing with my life. And we start out this pity party and we get down on ourselves. But this is what I would encourage everybody to remember. It's only a door. It's not your destination. Yes, you work at Starbucks now. You're not going to be there forever. Yes, you are in college now. Yes, you might have failed that class once or twice. But eventually you're going to move past that phase and that stage in your life. So I think it's just a matter of just calming ourselves down. And even as we remember the story of Joseph, Joseph, you look at him being in that pit where his brothers put him, was a doorway for him to get to Egypt, and him getting to Egypt and him going to Potiphar was a doorway to prison, and prison was a doorway to Pharaoh. So even though it doesn't look like success or it's going to be successful, we have to always remember, as long as we're trusting in God and He's the Lord of our life, which means He's the owner. So that means He, in all our ways, acknowledge Him and He will direct our path. So in other words, if we're acknowledging Him, hey, God, you are the Lord of my life. I'm trusting you completely. And it goes some ways that doesn't really look aesthetically pleasant, then guess what? It's God's doing. Just let it alone, trust God, and He'll get us to our destination.
One thing that stood out to me is, and I thought that we spoke about it, is this whole thing about comparison. And a lot of time we allow comparison to breed discontentment, and it also lowers our confidence because we compare ourselves as, like, I'm 23, persons in my class are way younger than I am. And so I'm like, wow, what am I doing? What have I been doing? And actually, I never took a break from school. I graduated high school, came to COB, left in COB, and went to UE. So it was like, you was doing what you're supposed to be doing, but just chilled. And I think that by far stood amongst the many other things you guys said. So I hope that you guys caught on to that, well, this whole idea of comparison. So now we're moving off from the whole idea of purpose in and of itself. I think one of the things that made a big difference in my life was me trying to figure out what I was passionate about and what I felt would have been most successful for me. And so I said that to say, I love acting, I love playwriting, I love everything that has to do with theater. And for the longest I looked around, I'm like, no one's really successful from this in the Bahamas. We have one or two persons, but I mean, on a substantial level. And I got myself into thinking, you know what, you're good at debating, so you must. And people always said, you're going to be a good judge. So I listened to people, and I studied law. I love law. But others, like persons in my class, don't like law. But it was something that they felt that they would have been successful at. And so they're good at acting, they're good at art. But they don't believe as if they would have been successful in it. So I wanted to talk about the idea of passion versus success. What advice would you give a millennial who's saying, you know what, I'm passionate about art, but I don't think I'll be successful, one, in the culture that we're in. Because the reality of it is the Bahamas is now, I guess, slowly realizing our place as millennials, but also understanding that we don't do things the traditional way. We branch it out. We ain't doing the regular businesses no more. And so, what advice would you give to a millennial that's stuck in that place between, should I follow passion or should I follow success?
Well, I'll just keep it short and just say that if you follow passion, success will come. But if you follow success, passion may never come. I learned that at a young age from my mom. She's a business owner, and like I said, I've been around business from the age of 10. And I've seen passion keep her up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. because she just was so passionate about the business that she was in. She couldn't sleep. She wanted it to be perfect. She wanted it to work because she was so passionate. But passion drove her to success. But had she been a lawyer or a doctor or something else that people say was successful, would she have been as enthusiastic to get up to work in the morning? So I learned pretty young that passion brings success. And if you're successful, maybe passion will never come. It's up to you. Is that a risk you're willing to take?
So on the same note then, what does one define success as? How is success measured?
Well, for me personally, I feel like success is relative. You may define success completely different from me. And the way I define success is that I look at my goals and I determine, okay, are my goals, have I realized my goals? And if I've done that, then I feel like I'm successful. But it may not be the same case for Enrico or Lincoln or me. But I was looking at the paper and it says passion versus success. And I don't necessarily feel like you have to choose between passion and success because you can be passionate about something and pursue your passions and be extremely successful. So I feel like as a person, as an individual, as a millennial, you can't allow people to I guess, impose their norms on you. You can't allow fear to stop you from pursuing what it is that you're passionate about. If you look around and you want to do art, and nobody else is successful in the Bahamas doing art, okay, maybe you'll be the first, you'll be a trendsetter, you'll be a groundbreaker. So I feel like you shouldn't put yourself in a box yourself in, allow people to impose their norms on you, societal norms, like forget that. Just do what it is that you love and be diligent in that and be persistent in that. And I personally feel that after you do all of that, success will come.
Yeah, in regard to the former question, in regard to this one, talked about the basically following the trend and that. The first thing I would tell any millennial, any parent, like, don't believe the myth that you have to pursue this particular career path or do this particular thing to make money or be successful. Like those are like people say corn days, where if you don't be a doctor, a lawyer, police officer, running on the defense force, like I won't make it. Like you said, millennials. One of the reasons why I love millennials is because they are daring enough to follow their dreams. In fact, I'm a product of younger millennials who have dared to be more, dare to do more, dare to follow passion, and it's because of them following their dreams that I had the courage to follow mine and do mine. And again, the beauty about purpose is that God has given each and every one of us a unique purpose, a thing that only you can do the way you could do it. No one else can do that thing like you. And so the beauty is once you decide to follow your purpose and you're passionate about it, you're going to be successful. And I love what Shante said. You don't have to choose between purpose and passion. Success and passion. Like they almost go hand in hand. You work diligently and zealously toward the thing that you're passionate about, and more than likely success will come.
Right. So I want to agree with both of you. I think that passion and success go hand in hand. Reason being, if you're not passionate about something that you're doing, you're going to give up easily. And if you're in a field or a business that you're not being fed in, or you're not surviving, you're not motivated to go there every day or do this every day, then you're going to give up. Versus when you're passionate about something, no matter what happens, no matter what obstacles you face, no matter how many challenges or how many of your family members tell you that go get a real job and stop doing what you're doing, you're going to persevere. With one of my first businesses, it took me 3 years to accomplish, simply because I had 7 denials from a regulatory body. I was denied financing and a lot of different issues that I faced, but I was passionate about the industry that I was pursuing, the business that I was pursuing, and I stuck with it. And today, the business is doing well because I followed my passion, I stuck with it, and I saw the success beyond what the naysayers had to say. And that goes down to what you're doing in life. At the end of the day, if you know that this is something that you genuinely and that you really love doing and that you really want to do, I would say your passion is going to fuel you. It's going to keep you going because you're going to see a bigger picture that no one else but you could see.
I just want to add to that. You asked the definition of success. I actually wrote it down. Earl Nightingale said, "Success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal or ideal." And I think that's simply put, but I would also just add this and put it in a nutshell. I think success is just finishing your race, because really and truly, you could measure success versus other persons. You could measure success versus what society tells you, what you see in social media, followers and all that other stuff. But success is finishing your race, because just because it doesn't look like you don't have it popping doesn't mean you don't have it popping, right? Because we live in such a socially charged world, and we think that social success is everything, right? Like if this person has it going on, then they must be successful. When really and truly, that's it's not true. And I would even add this to even take it a little bit further. Success is something that's going to echo through eternity. You see a lot of persons who may seem successful at certain things, but we don't know what they did or didn't do to get there. And meanwhile, they might have done a lot of things that were frowned upon, but we envy them and we want to be, where they're at, and we want to have what they have and do what they do. When realistically speaking, we're doing it the right way all along. We just have to be patient and let God's will to have its perfect time in our life.
I do have nothing else to add to that, which is good. Okay, so you all spoke about this whole idea, following your passion and just being diligent. So this second, the other topic, will kind of lead into a bit, I guess, becoming a bit more real about the subject. So a lot of times people will tell you, like you guys just said, work at it, it's all good. But the reality of it is, it don't work out that way. Like you said, but your whole process, it took you 3 years. The regular joke, buddy, I'm going through that again. I just ain't work it out. And if you're really religious, God ain't want me to do this, man. That's gonna be this hard. Like that's just made me think about it. So I guess going down to the nitty gritty of it, the other topic says, I've graduated now. What? Life after college, right? So this will work either way. So it can be you before you graduate, and it can be you after you graduate. So I guess the concept that I'm trying to build here is, you graduate, you go to college. First of all, I'm telling you, you gotta go to college, especially if you're the first generation college student. You have to go to college. You have to go to college to be successful. Reality of it is, no, you don't. You know what I mean? And we as millennials will understand that more than others would, especially generation before us. And I'm assuming and I'm hoping you can kind of see it already. Persons my brother's age, who's 13, already thinking of business ideas, and people that age already building businesses, and so you don't necessarily have to go to college. But what do you do when you come back to society like ours, and this is us getting real? Millennials go to college, you come back, and for years, you can't find no job.
Yeah.
So people telling you, keep at it, man. He's where you go. Next government soon come in. You can use 2 different terms of government come in, and you still don't have no job. So what advice? What do you tell someone that's in that position? Like I did what I was supposed to do. I try it. Every time I turn, I can't get this contract. I've been wanting to pink for the longest. I can't get this contract. I've been wanting to start my own business. For some reason, they were broken. I live in Freeport, Fort Dora. You want me to do nothing? Everything's Fort Dora. I can't put that on there. So Fort Dora, you want me to do nothing? So what advice? What do you say to people in that position?
I'll say you have to create opportunities, because the thing about it is, we want persons just say, here's your first job, and here's X amount of $1,000 a year, here's a nice car, home, right off into the sunset, right? When in reality, it really doesn't work like that. Like, honestly speaking, every opportunity, the thing or the picture that you have in your head, you have to create. Because a lot of times, we go out there and it's like we're searching for something, but the thing we want all along is always found inside of us. So we only end up going on somebody else's job and someone else's business, on someone else's firm, and being miserable, right? So I would say that you have to create opportunity, and I know Bahamians, we like to say, you have to know somebody, right? Or is that the thing that we say? What do we say?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to know somebody.
It
Yeah,
ain't
so
what you
you
know,
know.
it ain't what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah, it ain't what you know, it's who you know. But this is what I like to say. I like to flip that. Become the person that people want to know. Become the go-to person. Hey, if I want to have an event on purpose over popularity, I'm going to come to Nisa because I really feel that this is a great thing that she's doing. She's established authority in this area. If I want to do anything in water and in tourism, I'm going to go to Lincoln. If I want to do anything in poetry or spoken word, my friend in the crowd, hey Shay, you know. But here's the thing: he created that opportunity. You created this event. She created the whole spoken word movement. Even when it comes to like clothing lines, you know, a lot of times a number of persons have approached myself and my buddies time and time again. Hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? But it wasn't nothing like where we were going out there asking for opportunity. This is something where you have a picture in your head, you have to be the one to draw it out.
There's so much I could say about this aspect. Too much to put time in front of me, so I go too long. Yeah, again, another myth. And the myth is that, you know, once you go to college and you get a good job, or you automatically get a job. I know friends who graduated with me last year, and they still don't have a job. You know? And I mean, do you have to go to college to be successful? No. However, I would say that college is a beautiful experience that I would not deprive anyone of, and I would say if you have the opportunity to go to college, I would say please do that. Please do so. However, well, additionally, I would totally agree with young Rev in regard to just creating opportunities. I often tell myself and tell my friends, babe, sometimes you can't wait for it to come to you, but to go get it, you know? In the Christian community, there's this idea of, you know, we have to wait until God say this or God say that, you know, but, you know, God hasn't given us every single detail about every single thing, you know, when He doesn't do that, He gives us wisdom and He gives us discernment, you know, and there are times when you have to apply wisdom and apply discernment and go out there and get things done. And you will know sometimes when, first of all, not every time something is hard to means that God is not, God is against you or He isn't with it. You know, sometimes there are trials and there are, you know, some tribulations that has to come to test you, to make you stronger, however, whatever He does. But again, once you've already got my guidance, that's the direction I want you to go in, then you have to be persistent, you have to go at it and go on.
Okay, well, my first degree is in biology. So I always tend to go back to science to use, you know, examples. And we have this theory called the survival of the fittest. And Darwin proposed that only the strong, only the fit survive. And I find that as millennials, we tend to get a lot of criticism from the older generations because we feel that everything should be quick, everything should be easy, everything should be smooth, things should just drop into our lap. And in reality, it's not going to be that way. So I completely agree with Enrico and Shaquille when they say that we have to create our opportunities, we have to be persistent, and we have to be diligent. If you want something, go after it. People are not going to give you everything. And sometimes life doesn't put every chip in your path. Sometimes you have to deviate from the path. Not meaning that you need to do anything illegal. But sometimes you just have to do what you got to do to get what you want. So, yeah, like the person you have a degree and you've been home for a few years and you don't have a job yet, make your own opportunities. What else are you good at? You know what I mean? You can't just sit down all day and say, okay, no jobs, government ain't doing this, because at the end of the day, who's suffering? Who doesn't have a job? The government has a job, you don't have a job. So I feel like we should stop blaming everybody and pointing fingers and coming up with excuses and do what we have to do to survive.
Yeah, the short answer, do you have to be successful you have to go to college to be successful? I would say no. I agree with Enrico, but if the opportunity presents itself, you know, pursue that. You know, some people look at college as, okay, I go off to college, I spend $30,000 a year, you times that by 4, and now you're in $100,000 debt, and then in return you're offered a job making minimum wage, you know, making minimum wage for a few years, and you're stuck with this overhead debt, and then, you know, a lot of people come back and they can't even find a job, so it's even more depressing. You have this degree that you have to spend over $100,000 on, you come back and there's nothing for you to do. And so creating opportunities, yes, is a very vital thing. I think a lot of the older generation has this societal, they impose this societal thing that you have to go to college to come back home to get a job and you will be successful. But I think this generation is changing that a bit, not just locally but around the world. You see millennials and young people changing the game. You know, they're in their college dorm rooms, or they didn't even go to college yet, and I mean they're building multi-$100,000, $1 million companies, and they're working in their purpose, they're working in their passion, they're solving problems. I think one of the fundamental things is that college will not guarantee us success. College is a vehicle, but there's more fundamental things that you need to develop to be successful. That being character traits, self-discipline, different traits that you learn that will take you into success, and problem solving. I think the foundation and the common thing is seeing a problem in your community or in your space or in your field of work and trying to solve that specific problem and building on that. And I think that's where a good level of success is. However, on the other hand, depending on your type of work or depending on the type of area that you're going in, of course you will need some background, but at the end of the day, knowledge, you don't only get knowledge from college. You know, you can watch YouTube videos all day. You know, we're in an information age where you can just Google something and, I mean, everything is literally right there. And so it's how you use the information that you have at your fingertips now, a benefit that we have that many generations before us did not have. And so just using the information that we have and problem solving and just being intentional.
It's just funny that I think everyone here said they went to college, but everyone basically said they don't think that you need college to be successful. I find that kind of ironic. And I have to agree because I did the college thing, but I was a late bloomer and I dropped out. But the Lord told me to go back, so I just had to do what He said. But I think that the thing that I learned from college was not necessarily the information in business, but it was just disciplining myself, and that's what took me to the realm of writing and so forth. And the Lord doesn't have to necessarily use college to teach you certain things. He can use people. He touched on the internet. There are so many vehicles that you can use to actually learn and obtain knowledge. And if you have already done the college thing and you're not at a place where you haven't gotten jobs yet, I just think, for me, I don't know, I little rational. I go with faith. Like, listen, faith don't make sense a lot of times. Sometimes you just have this calling and this urging inside you, telling you to do something, and you just can't explain it to nobody. And even if you tried, it'll stop you on your track. But if I had listened to a lot of people, I probably wouldn't have been doing what I'm doing now. People, no one's going to understand what's going on inside of you. So if you have a passion, desire to create opportunities and to do things, like fear is always going to war against faith. I don't care if you're Beyonce. I'm sure before she goes, actually I think I heard an interview where she said she still gets nervous when she goes on stage sometimes. Fear is always going to be there, but you just got to get to a place where listen, I'm not listening to that. I'm shutting that down. I can do this. If I drive over this cliff and I drown, then so be it. But I know that there's a possibility I might just get wings and fly. So I'm willing to do what I got to do to see what it happens. You just got to get crazy like that because it's not easy. But you just got to get to that point where it's like, listen, I can do this. If I mess up, too bad. You ain't got to live with my consequences. I can do what I got to do.
And I would just like to add to the college conversation. I haven't completed college. I actually only did 2 semesters. But this is what I would say, that I don't think it's necessary for success. However, it does not negate the fact that you should still be educated. Like what Lincoln said, you can watch YouTube videos all day. I see college as a resource. The internet is a resource. Another resource that we didn't talk about, as well as mentors. I think I have about literally 5 older men who I can call on at any time, and they would pour into my life. They would give me an hour of their time. They would meet me for lunch. They would come by. They would do whatever it takes to make sure that I get clarity and mobilization on whatever subject matter that I'm dealing with in my life. And a lot of times, millennials, we have this thing where it's like we feel like we're doing it on our own, and we're self-made and this all this stuff, right? But the thing about it is, I don't know where this next thing came about. Like it's like almost a war against the generation before us. right? But we have to realize that, hey, even though their way may be different, they're still here. After 40 something, 50 something, 60 something years, they have a lot to offer. You know, they have a lot of knowledge, they have a lot of wisdom and most educational stuff that comes to my email box. The store that we do business with online, they send me stuff all the time. As I'm sitting, I shouldn't say as I'm sitting in traffic, but as I'm sitting down, sometimes I'm reading this stuff. But continuously educate yourself, because I don't think it's so much the college or no college, because you can go there and party and do whatever you feel like doing, or you can do that over here in the real world. It really depends on the person and their determination to be successful.
And something came to mind as Rev was talking. So, I think a challenge that I think millennials have too is that we need to use our time better. I recognize that a lot of millennials waste a lot of time. When we talk about social media, but it's like people say social media is the enemy. It isn't the enemy. It's definitely a tool that we've been given. But we waste a lot of time doing things. Like when you look at the newest, latest music video that came up, and you see how many likes it has, and if you was to do a survey on how many of those likes was millennials, you would be amazed. You know what I mean? Versus I watch videos like, I don't know if you guys ever heard about TED Talks or videos that actually teach you things. You know what I mean? And the beauty is you don't even have to be sitting down watching it. Like I watch a lot of TED Talks while I'm getting ready. I download them, I listen to them in the car. But it's like, again, the minute, like she said earlier, the minute you figure out what your purpose is, then your goal should be building in that direction. So for me, studying theology, practicing to be a pastor, I watch a lot of sermons. Again, I don't always sit down and watch them. I listen to them while I'm ironing, I listen to them while in the car, but it's like, the minute you know what it is, then your goal should be, how can I build myself in this direction, you know?
Okay. So there's a lot more that I think we can go into, but I just want to give a few moments to anyone that may have a question about what has just been said, or anything that's been said thus far.
Question: have any of you experienced the fear of failure, and has that sort of prevented you from taking on a venture, I guess pursuing an idea or a dream? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Here's the thing. I have experienced that as recent as the beginning of this year. It's really crazy. I never thought I'd share the story on a public platform, but the Lord told me to leave my job, this January. Now, keep in mind, I am a husband, I'm a father, right? Yes, I'm an entrepreneur, but then again, I got a lot of bills.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you, right? Had a business loan that started in January. So in other words, on top of my no sure income now, my wife's not working, but she wasn't working at the time. Now I'm gonna add a few $1,000 debt on top of this. So was I scared? Woo! Boy, right? But the thing that I learned so much in this process, as I'm going through and as I'm really starting to see doors open up and as I'm starting to see the light and all of this, is at the end of the day, whatever we really want to go after in life is meant to be scary. Because if it was so easy and it was non-intimidating and it was a breeze, then what's the point of having purpose over popularity? Everybody would have been doing it, right? We would have been having conferences and seminars with cars to buy, something like that. But the point of the matter is that I believe that whenever, and you look all throughout the Bible, whenever God has called somebody to do something, like what you may want to do may not be a big deal to someone else, but it's a big deal to you. So because you have your passion and all your heart and your mind is tied up in this thing, it's going to be fearful because it always seems like an unsure path versus something that can be a little bit more safe, a little bit more. I have a family member in this area. I can get it a little bit easier, you know, but God is calling me to dance. Like, what? Why did I get a salary from dancing? Explain that. You know, so I always think it's going to be scary, you know. So I think you just gotta trust him and do it.
I agree with him. Fear never goes away. Fear of failure. I mean, yeah, like you said, right? Fear of failure. That's not something that if you're gonna wait for that feeling to go away to act, you're never gonna act because it never goes away. The truth is that, like, just learning about God and who He is, like, He always have you in an uncomfortable place. And it makes sense because if you were so comfortable, you would have no need to rely on Him. You would feel like, I gotta do this, I got this. So you're always going to be in a position where you're always going to need Him, and it's going to be uncomfortable. But it's in the uncomfortableness that you're going to thrive. That's what's going to make you the trailblazer. That's what's going to make you different from everyone. If you're trailblazing, that means you're leading. If you're leading, that means you're in front. If you're in front, that means you're more likely you're alone. So you got to know that, listen, it's fine. Like, it's going to be there, but you got to just shut it down. Just do it anyway.
I just want to add something to that. So two things when you said fair and you said feeling. So I'll talk about fair first. So for me, one of the things that I've recently begun to do is always look at what is stopping me from doing something. And if it's fair, that ain't good enough for me. So for instance, this event, fair, full. There's something that's supposed to happen from at least a year and some now. And I'm like, one, God, I ain't there yet. I ain't there. I'm talking like I can do the balance. That's what you're talking about. I see you like moderating. Understand? So I was like, that ain't gonna work out. You know when it come, this doesn't make no sense. You know what you talking about, right? And so I looked at it and said, so what is stopping you from doing something? If it's fair, that ain't good enough. Then we go into this whole aspect of failure. To me, failure and success are two things. I don't know where people get their measurements from. Who regards something? What is to be defined as something that's failure? So for me, I'll look at something, or someone else will come here, and I just being real. Someone will come in there and say, if 50 people was in that event, that's a flop, that failed. No, I did it before. I had that mindset when I did my play in 2015 in Nassau. I'm not from here, right? And like everybody was telling me, she was doing this for free, what? You know anybody coming to your play? So I looked at the person that came to the audience, and I was like, let me tell you something, when I say months, I sat home and I was like, God, the next time you want me to do something, you better be clear, and you better bring these people. Real. Because I was like, this is a failure, I waste my time. And it took me a long time to ever thought that I was going to do something again, because in my mind, that wasn't successful. And a lot of persons said to me, but more importantly, God said to me, you don't know who was in the audience. And you may look at something to be the desired end, but it's about what I need to be the desired end. So people will be here sitting right now, and it could just be whereas something they said or something I'm saying, change your whole perspective when you walk with this God. And to him, that's success. That ain't a failure. But to me, because we're looking at what one society is deemed success, or what society is deemed as a failure, then that's a failure. But one, get rid of people or society and cultural perspective on things, and go to God. Let God tell you, this is what needs to be done. If it's fair, can't have fair stuff in 2017. Millennials.
Yeah, I agree. You asked two, like you said, two-fold questions: fair and failure. Fair is inevitable. I think we all, even the greatest people, they fear. They just fear is just natural. It's an emotion, but you shouldn't allow failure to disrupt your course or where you're going. For example, I started one of my first businesses while I was in college, my first year in college. I launched it was working, and it worked for about a month, and I felt horrible, you know? I was like, wow, maybe I should be an entrepreneur. Maybe this life isn't for me. And then, you know, I spoke with a mentor, someone that encouraged me, and they said, well, that's just the beginning of it, you know? And what I learned from that, what I perceived at that time as failure, actually propelled me into entrepreneurship full speed, because the mistakes that I encountered, or the things that I did wrong in those quote-unquote failure moments, I turned that around and I flipped it into another venture, and I didn't take certain course of actions anymore. I changed course, and that actually made me a better entrepreneur. And so oftentimes we get caught up in the failure, but there's a lesson in it. There's wisdom in it. That experience will propel you into making you an even better person. And so, there's the cliche stories with the Coca-Cola and the KFC, the light bulb, and it's the same thing. At the end of the day, just keep going.
I agree completely, and I just want wanted to add for me, I kind of use fair to my benefit because I weigh the options. Okay, I'm like, okay, on one side we have the fear of failure, and on the other side I have a fear of regret. So my fear of regret is extremely greater than my fear of failure. I don't want to be the person 10 years from now, 20 years from now saying, okay, what if? Oh, I should have, I would have. So for me, I just use it as, okay, I don't want to have regret later on. So you know what? Let me just do this afraid. And if I fail, I fail. I get back up and I try it again.
Yeah, everything they said comes to like fair is always going to be there. In fact, I would challenge you with, you know, the opposite of fair is what, like faith. You know what I mean? So you if you don't want fair, then you have that faith, which is good, you know. But the fair sometimes I think that prepares you as well. You know what I mean? So sometimes too for me, I take that fair and I say like Shante said, I'm not a person who likes living in regret. Sometimes that kind of doesn't work well for me either because that causes me to do all kind of things I shouldn't be doing. But I'm not a person who likes to live in regret, and so I just always jump in it. And the challenge is it's always even in it, even doing it, even while you're succeeding, you're gonna be like, wait, this is going too good. This probably the last one. What's gonna happen? You know? But we just have to keep going, like we've been saying all day. And I'm someone, interestingly enough, I was on a job for a while, and I remember having to leave that job. Same scenario with Young Rev. I believe that God told me to leave my job, and I was in a situation where no one in my family, most friends, didn't really understand what that was about. And that was probably top 5 best decisions I ever made in my life to leave that job at the time. And it wasn't a blissful experience when I did. Sometimes it was really, really good. Sometimes it was really, really rough. But the opportunities that came, the character building that came out of me overcoming that fear and doing that thing I know I needed to do, it was a blessing. It was beautiful. And so sometimes you won't be able to learn, you know, what you could have. You won't be able to experience what you could have until you get over that fear. Until you say, you know what, I'm not going to be fearful. I'm going to do what I need to do. And so my encouragement is, like she said, in order to be a trailblazer, most likely said you're going to be alone, you know. But there are also maybe saying that you're doing something, you know, people are watching you, keep going.
I was going to say anything else, but she touched on something so big. Vanessa talked about who came up with this success and failure thing. How do you measure success? I know when I got saved, Lord, that just stripped me because I was into this being a big business, money, balling kind of thing because that's what you see, right? On TV, like you gotta have a house with at least 10 bedrooms. I mean, come on. Like, if you ain't getting that, then what are you doing, right? And then the Lord had to strip me of that. He had to show me that success is not measured by these temporal things. It's by being in obedience to me. Because if you're in obedience to me, then you operate in purpose. So I started to measure my success personally for me based on how obedient I am to God. So God told me to just go and talk to this gentleman over here, and I did that. And hey, I've been successful for the day. And even when I was writing my book, I had a big thing. I was like, for a moment, I was like, Lord, suppose nobody read this, suppose nobody buy this, suppose I just wasted my, I took like a year. I didn't want suppose I waste my year. And then the Lord had to show me, listen, if one soul gets saved, could $1 million have bought that soul? Wow. So we can't measure these things based on temporal things that are going to pass. Like, success should be measured by, am I in obedience to God? That's it. Make it that simple. You don't have to have 10 bedrooms. You can have 10 bedrooms and still be unhappy. I've been around people with money and I've seen them miserable, some of them. No peace, no joy. So success, I think it's just, we have to reevaluate how we measure success.
I just wanted to draw like a little illustration. A few months ago, I went to climbing with some of my friends. So we climbed all the way up, and it's like I'm at the top, I came this far, and in my head I'm like, okay, this roof's gonna fall. I'm gonna die, I'm gonna drop. Break something. I'm gonna die in Trinidad. I'm not gonna be able to go back home with my family. And so it's like I just had to close my eyes and jump and leave the platform. And sometimes we have to do that in life. Like sometimes personally, I find that a lot of things that I fail aren't even really real. Like I have this fear that okay, this will happen and that will happen, and it never happens. It never happens. So sometimes we just really have to do what we have to do because a lot of our fears are imaginary. And just one thing will never happen.
Okay, so I'll open the floor for one more question just because I feel like someone deep in your elbow, you really, really Oh, we got two? Oh, Lord.
Hi, how you doing? I want to ask this question for me, especially. You are in purpose, right?
What do you mean?
You saw the heavens open up, came down, thunder,
Yeah.
right? You're in purpose, you're doing purpose. But I found one of the major problems is, for me, it's hard to get support, especially from people.
Wow,
They tend to,
that was my question.
They tend to, a lot of times, they gravitate towards international talent. They work with international talent. But we are here doing the same thing, and sometimes better.
Yeah.
But y'all bring in people, so it's kind of discouraging. I know the Bible says that prophets are honored and went down, but that's discouraging from the other standpoint, trying to really do purpose, and you're not getting encouragement from people surrounded by it. So my question is, what advice would you give people like that?
That makes a good point. This is what I would say. At the end of the day, I fully agree with a prophet being without honor in his hometown and all of that good stuff. But this is one thing that I realize. Persons love value, right? Like you're not going to see something good or something valuable and not take part in it, right? And a lot of times when we start a business, when we start a calling, when we start something, I believe that the response sometimes is telling us something, right? I remember when we made the first God Squad tees, I thought they were hot. Real. I was like, this is the money right here. It's like everybody's gonna love this, right? And realistically, like looking back at it now, I'm like, gosh, what in the world were we thinking? That was horrible, right? So the thing about it is, I believe that as you progressively work on your craft, you progressively work on your craft. A lot of persons who we see now, today, to the forefront of whatever they're doing, whatever industry they're in, whatever ministry they're in, they haven't been there like all of the time. You started to know about them 2 or 3 years ago, but they were probably doing that for like 10 years, right? Like I remember Eric Thomas. I don't know if any of you guys remember Eric Thomas, the YouTuber who gives all of these motivational speeches and all of that good stuff. Any of you familiar with him? E.T. was like doing, thank God it's Monday, from people probably in school, right? But now all of a sudden, like things that he put out from years ago is now just surfacing. Everybody's like, wow, this dude is amazing. But he's been amazing for a little while now.
Yeah.
We're just discovering this. You understand what I'm saying? So the thing about it is, in that place, going back to the story of Joseph, in that prison, at that job, at whatever you're at, in that pit, you continue just to cultivate your gift, your talent, cultivate the right mindset. Because once again, if the Lord is the Lord of it, He can put you on a pedestal, He can take you down, He can bring customers, He can bring clients, He can bring supporters, and all of that stuff. You understand what I'm saying? So I would say persistence. A lot of times we don't like to be persistent either. We see something, we try it out for a year or two. I don't know if anybody would have went through what Lincoln went through in terms of trying to do that business. Hey, listen, after that, I was going to be a doctor or something. Forget that, right? But a lot of times we don't like to be persistent. And the thing is, you look at, and I remember, and this is the last point I'll make on this. I remember when I was doing some video thing, I think this was like last year I started to do it, right? And you can look at it and I was like, wow, this ain't getting a lot of views, like 100 views, 200 views. And as I started to go out and about on my daily, commute, persons was acting like, hey, we had a video. Like I was looking forward to this. I was sharing this around and all of that good stuff. So You can't always measure it by the numbers because you don't know who you're impacting and you don't know the timeline that God has set for you. So you have to continue just to be persistent because support will come over time. Persons like to cling to, they do business with people they know, like, and trust, right? And they're not going to know, like, and trust you if you're kind of wavering with what you want to do. One day I want to do it, the next day I don't want to do it. So they say, all right, I can't get behind that. Let me just leave that one alone. So.
I'm just going to be brief. I just want to say, just being faithful with the little. We touched on what I was about to say. Don't underestimate your reach. You have no idea who you may be touching. People, they might not always come out their pockets, but you'll be surprised to know who's watching you. You just gotta be faithful with the little. All of us will say, oh, you gotta trust God, you gotta trust God. But can God trust you? Can God trust you if you have one follower, if you have two, if you have 100, if you have 1,000,000? How is He gonna trust you with millions of precious souls if you ain't even faithful with the one? So it doesn't matter who, like what you see in front of you. You just gotta be faithful with the little.
I agree with both of them. I just wanted to add, I mentioned earlier that I'm the founder of Pros Empowerment organization, and I started it when I was 18. And nobody supported it. Many times we would host events, and I was going to school part-time and working part-time, and I would take my whole entire paycheck and invest in that event, and hardly anybody would show up. People that said they would show up didn't show up. So my question to you is, what is your why? Because if you're doing it just for people to follow, or people to give you accolades or clap their hands or give you a standing ovation, then I don't think that's a good enough reason. And especially in ministry, when it comes to ministry, we have to really remind ourselves that, hey, I'm doing this for the glory of God. And at the end of the day, if one person's impacted, then that is enough, because sometimes it's rough. People just don't support, and we can't solicit support from everybody or expect everybody to support financially or even physically. Sometimes it just doesn't work that way. So my advice to you is just focus on God, and in due time, in due season, whatever His will, it be done.
Well, thank you for your question. Thank you guys for being attentive listeners. I just want to personally thank our panelists. You guys are amazing. And I think the oldest would be, not to put you on the spot, would be get burned up, right? I think as we listen, you'd be surprised to know that you had millennials speaking into you. And if you're anything like me, I just sat in awe, because it's like, wow. You know what I mean? It's valid information, but at the same time, I know the fact that neither of them hid their experiences from us. And so a lot of times, like I started saying, this is a forum where, as a lot of us as millennials, we don't like to talk about the hard stuff. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to make it seem as if we're all okay. Yeah. And I love the fact that we have this moment where we can talk to one another, and seek solutions. And so what I don't want you guys to do is leave here for one moment and be like, that was good, how to do better. I can go start a YouTube page, I can do this. And then when you realize you only have one subscriber and you've been doing it for a whole year, and you turn around and say, man, to see it working out. Remember what has been said. And remember one thing that they have to their focus is God. So don't, and I love what Shantae ended with. What is your why? Don't ever lose that. And so, I want to close in prayer. You guys, Happy Father, Lord Jesus, thank you for this forum, God. Thank you for the opportunity to come before you, Father God, as humble hearts, oh God, as millennials who are seeking your will to be done in our lives, oh God, as the ministry is being purpose over popularity. Thank you for allowing us to be able to recognize that one is very important for us to understand what our purpose is in our lives, what it is that you've called us to do. God, thank you for allowing us to be able to be obedient to your call, and even to just come here and find out more about it. God, I want to thank you for just the knowledge, the wisdom that you allow Holy Spirit to speak through your people today. I pray that for those of us that have listened, and those who came and who maybe who have watched via live stream, that we will all be propelled and motivated to be better citizens, oh God, better citizens of the kingdom. For those that may not know you, God, I ask that you just allow them to come to know you, so they can come closer to knowing what their will is, oh God. As Miles Monroe said, when we don't know our purpose, we tend to abuse ourselves. And God, time is of the essence. And we as millennials have to understand that we've all been placed here for a purpose, and we need to fulfill that purpose, all for your glory and for your honor. God, I pray that you just keep us positive, oh God. Help us to always seek your wisdom, seek your direction. Help us not to move left nor right without knowing what it is that you want us to do. I pray that you just keep us in peace of mind, and a sound mind, oh God. I pray that we'll always find strength in you, Father God, even in our weakest moments. God, I thank you once again for this forum. I ask this is something that will continue, Father, even beyond this ministry. In Jesus' holy and precious name I pray. Amen. Thank you guys for coming. It's been a pleasure.